A good evening, guys. Welcome to another edition of your favorite show on the internet. This is the Game Plan Show with me, Fifi, and Manessa. 56th edition, 56th episode, and I'm sad to announce that this would be the last one for for this season, which is season 1 of the Game Plan Show. We've had a lot of fun on the show since we started a couple of months ago. We've heard your thoughts, your suggestions. We've listened to you and we've interacted on the show. It's now to go for a break, we believe, and we'll be back bigger and better and stronger like we always do it here on the Game Plan Show. So please take note, this is the last episode until we return with the second season, hopefully, on the Game Plan Show. Again, my name is Fifi, and good evening to all of you who are watching from all over the world as well as from across Ghana as well. I have a lot to discuss with you as always. I'll be telling you about Asamoah Gyan, who has hit the ground running at his new club, Kayserispor. I'll also be telling you about the MLS. Now remember, last week we talked about how 2 Ghanaian players were red carded in the same game. Well, this time we have sort of, the positive aspect of the whole Ghanaian player equation. Now, 2 Ghanaian players scored in a single game. And so that is what we're talking about. We'll be doing that on the Game Plan Show as well as so many other issues. I'll be telling you about the swimming competition that happened in Budapest, the World Aquatics Championship, the FINA World Aquatics Champion. We had only 1 Ghanaian swimmer doing us proud. I'll be telling you all about her. It's a female who competed for Ghana. So of course we had originally 4 swimmers billed to participate, but unfortunately we had only 1 swimmer. And also be telling you about Kumasi Asante Kotoko. What is happening in their camp? With regards to the whole transfer saga, involving Dauda Mohammed, who was sold to RSC Anderlecht earlier this year. There's been some foul play as some clubs suspect, and it's been through the player status committee of the GFA as well as the disciplinary committee of the GFA. I'll be bringing you all the breakdown. You can see I have all my papers in the studio to tell you all about the Asante Kotoko issue. I've just been looking at all the issues the whole day now. Ready to share it with you as well here on the Game Plan. So remember to share your thoughts with us, sending your comment on our Facebook page, Pulse Ghana Sports. We'll be glad to read them for you. Anything you want us to do for you, we will do it on the show. Let's have a conversation, ask questions, bring your suggestions, anything, your shout outs as well. We'll be glad to have them on the show. Remember to follow us on Twitter. We are Pulse Sports GH, and on Instagram as well, Pulse Sports GH, as well as on Snapchat, Pulse Sports GH. Or you can follow our main account, Pulse Ghana, on Facebook, as well as Pulse Ghana on Twitter as well. You can follow me individually as well, Fifi Anaman on Twitter. And let's start a conversation. Also search for me on Facebook, and let's talk. Let's talk about whatever we'll be discussing on the Game Plan Show. I'll be ever glad to host you as well. Now let's go for a quick breather, and we'll be back to delve straight into what is making rounds in the world of Ghanaian sport. We're back on the Game Plan Show. Thanks for joining us. We are streaming live on our Facebook page, Pulse Ghana Sports. I'm sure most of you are watching now are on the show. Please send in your comments and let's know what you think. Remember, like I said, this is the last episode for season 1 of the Game Plan Show. And send in your messages, anything you want me to read on the show. I'll be glad to do it for you as well. Now let's talk some MLS. And over the weekend, there was a game at between SKC, Sporting Kansas City, and Chicago Fire, which feature Ghanaian players in their sides as well. Now, Latif Atablessing, formerly of Liberty Professionals, he used to play in the Ghana Premier League, was top scorer as well as MVP in the last season, and he moved to the MLS to play for SKC. Now, he was involved for the SKC side, who played Chicago Fire at the Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City, Kansas. And what happened during the game? Well, Sporting Kansas City won by 3 goals to 2. And imagine this, Latif Atablessing scored the winner for SKC against David Akam's Chicago Fire. And this is the interesting plot twist, right? David Akam also scored in this game. So Latif Blessing scoring and David Akam scoring as well. And I hope my producer plays the image of Latif Blessing and David Akam. For those of you who are not familiar with Ghanaian players in the MLS, this is what they are doing a fantastic job. Latif Blessing, of course, like I said, joining from Liberty Professional. This is his third goal in 14 league games for SKC. Remember when he first arrived in America, he was sort of loaned out to the B team of SKC, which is Swope Park Rangers. He scored once in a single appearance, and then they brought him back to the side. And since then, he's been featuring regularly for the side as well. So 5 goals in 17 games across all competitions. That's in the MLS and the US Open Cup. So that's what Latif Atablessing has been doing. He's not even a striker, so scoring a lot of goals for him. The 3 goals in 14 league games and 5 goals in 17 games across all competitions. Now let's talk David Akam, who scored the second goal for Chicago Fire. He has been on fire this season. I mean, this has been his best season in his career. Not a striker, but has scored already 12 goals in 19 league games this season. From the wings, David Akam, one of the topmost players at Chicago Fire. Now, interestingly, he did not even start the game against SKC. Now, we are hearing rumors, and I've read some reports that he's had a bust-up with his coach as well. And so, he's quite unhappy at his club. But anytime he's on the field, he delivers. David Akam, 12 goals in, as many as, 19 games this season. And he's right there on fire for Chicago. Of course, unfortunately, they lost that game in Kansas City, Kansas as well. So Latif Atablessing scoring for SKC in a 3-2 victory over David Akam, Chicago Fire as well there in the MLS. Now let's talk more about David Akam, right? We are hearing that he might just be moving because, he feels dissatisfied with what is happening. We've read reports, especially from Goal.com, that, he hasn't been happy with his snap during the MLS All-Star game. Remember, the MLS All-Star game will be happening on Wednesday, which is August 2nd, I believe, against Real Madrid, and it will be played in Chicago. You understand? Now, Chicago is where Chicago Fire is based, where David Akam plays. But when the voting lines were open or online, the platforms were open, David Akam couldn't get into the MLS All-Star team, which is like a collection of the biggest players in the MLS. So, of course, he's been, for me, and I'm sure for most of you who followed his performances, one of the best players in America this season, with his skills, with his assists, with his goals. And it's unfortunate that he won't be playing in that game against Real Madrid at the Soldier Field in Chicago as well. Now, hearing that he wants to leave after 2 years and 3 seasons in the MLS. He joined in 2015, played the 2015 season, 2016 season as well, and this season, the 2017 season. He scored 36 goals in 73 games across all competitions. Not a striker, and so this is a very good return for a player of his caliber and of his age as well. David Akam, of course, in his mid-20s, doing Ghana proud in the MLS. He might just move, so we'll be following the story as well in the game plan show and be bringing you more updates as we get them as well. So 12 goals in 19 games this season, 36 goals in 73 games across all competitions in the last 3 seasons. Akam doing Ghana proud there. So we'll be following the story as always and be bringing you updates on the game plan show. Now let me just go quickly onto Facebook and read some of your comments. There are a lot of you watching the show at the moment. Well, I see Amadou Mutala, you are saying hard work. Yes, thanks for your comment. Anthony Kofi Davis, you are saying you are watching live from Cairo. Thank you very much, Anthony. Amadou Mutala watching from Qatar. Thank you very much, Amadou, for your comment and for watching as well. Now, Sheikh Herman, you're saying you're watching live from Namibia. Interesting there. Yusuf Yakubu, you're saying you're watching from Saudi Arabia. Oh, so we have Saudi Arabia, Namibia, Qatar, and Egypt on the show tonight. Interesting for our last episode for season 1. Stephen Youngson, you're saying you're watching live from Espresso in Kumasi. I love that we have a Ghanaian viewer saying where he is watching from. I see you, Benjamin Jao, our producer on the show as well. Nene Afedi, good evening to you as well. And thanks for all your work on the Game Plan show. Cosworth is saying he's watching from Frankfurt in Germany. Of course, Cosworth is a regular customer on the Game Plan show. Dib Bede, you are saying you are watching from Wa in Ghana. Thank you for joining us. I see you, Yao Nyako. Nazer Abubakar, you are watching from NYC, New York City. Thank you very much. Abdul Salam is watching from Dubai. Thank you. Abalansa Fafana Adams, you are watching from Hamburg and you love our program. Thank you. Interesting comments coming in. Remember, this is our last episode for season 1 of the Game Plan show, and we are full of gratitude for all your help, for all your viewership, for all your comments, for everything that you've done for us on the show, and we promise to be back bigger and better. I know it's a cliche, but we've got to improve. So it's very important that we take a breather and see how we can serve you better on the Game Plan show. Now let's talk some Asamoah Gyan. I mean, Asamoah Gyan has made us like 90% of everything we've done on the Game Plan show. Every episode he's there, whether he's customizing his armband, whether he's moving from Asia into Europe, whether he's scoring goals, whether he's receiving an honorary doctorate. He's always been in the news, and today as well we'll be talking about him. Now he recently, of course, moved early last month in July. He moved from Shanghai SIPG, or where he was on loan in the UAE playing for Al Ahly, all the way to Anatolia in Turkey, where he signed for Kayserispor. Now what is happening is Asamoah Gyan has played 2 games since his move. We are hearing he's being paid 550,000 euros a season, which works out to about 10,000 euros, 10,500 euros every month. A huge pay cut, but he's gone there for a reason. He says he was, impressed by the program that Kayserispor have, and he took a pay cut to play for them. And he's scoring already. In their first game against Hannover 96, he scored a couple of goals. And in their second game as well against a Qatari side, Al Duhail from Qatar, he scored as well. So 3 goals in 2 games for Asamoah Gyan already for Kayserispor in preseason. He's firing from all cylinders there. Our captain, of course, he's Africa's all-time top scorer in the World Cup with 6 goals. He's Ghana's all-time top scorer with 50 goals. He's Ghana's all-time record cup holder, and he's one of the topmost scorers in the history of the UAE in terms of their local league and in terms of the African Champions League as well. So Asamoah Gyan is a decorated player. He's now back in Europe and backfiring in the goals. So remember, he was recently in Ghana to inaugurate his AstroTurf that he built for his alma mater, Accra Academy. We are hearing that cost between $200,000 and $300,000. And so yes, he's been doing a lot of work in Ghana, and he's enjoying his football as well. 3 goals in 2 games for Asamoah Gyan to his start at Kayserispor. And so yeah, he's enjoying his football. Of course, not a lot of money, but he has to play football, and for him it's important to hit it at the top again. He's 31 years of age. He says he's not done. He wants more years and he wants more goals as well. So that's it from the camp of Asamoah Gyan, scoring 3 goals in 2 friendly games for Kayserispor. And I hope my producer played a video for you to watch as I was discussing Asamoah Gyan. He's been doing very well there since he joined, in training and as well as in most of his games as well. So congrats to you, Baby Jet, our captain, on what you're doing in Turkey as well for Kayserispor. Let me just quickly move back to Facebook and read more of your comment coming in. See who's watching. Okay, so more comments. Eric Menu Neymar, you're saying Neymar live from Dubai. Thank you very much. Happy Abel, you're saying nice one watching from my house. Why, Fifi? I see you. Nana Kweku, always on the show with us. Thank you very much, Nana Kweku. Now, Yao Nyako is saying good work, Fifi. Thank you very much. That's very kind. You're watching from Hamburg and you love our program. That's from Abalansa Fafana Adams. Interesting. Then I see Pearl Ama Moatin, Latif Blessing. I see you watching as well. Congrats on your goal, by the way, for SKC. I saw the goal. Interesting goal. Now you have 5 goals in as many as 17 games. You're doing very well. And we've discussed a lot of Latif Blessing on the show, of course, with our previous host, Godfred Akotoko, and all his achievements in terms of his awards and his goals and his play, general contribution as well. We are happy to see that a product of the Ghana Premier League has been transferred straight into the MLS and is doing the business. That's very important. Latif Blessing is only 20 years of age, and so for him to go there and hit the ground running, I think it spells good news for Ghana football and what we are doing with our Ghana Premier League as well. Now, Amadou Mutala, you're saying tell them to share the video. Amadou, I'll do that for you. Kweku Ofori Benji, you're saying how much is Asamoah Gyan's new wages? Well, I can confirm to you that the president of Kayserispor explicitly said that Asamoah Gyan is being paid 550,000 euros a season, which works up to about 10,500 euros every month. So, Asamoah Gyan at a point in the UAE used to earn between $200,000 and $300,000 every week after tax. And so this is a huge pay cut for him. But he says he wants to play football. Of course, he's getting older and he has to keep himself active. And for him, it presents a new challenge as well. Of course, this is just his basic way. There are other bonuses as well for performance and goals and stuff like that. So Asamoah Gyan there. Pearl Ama, I see you. Good evening. How are you doing? And hi from Kojo Cheneboy in the studio as well. He's working on MCR and he says hi to you, Pearl. Kweku Benji, thank you very much for your comment. Now let's move on to some more issues. Let's talk Razak Abalora, who is the #1 goalkeeper for Ghana Premier League leaders WAFA, the West African Football Academy. Now Abalora has been the best goalkeeper this season. You know how last season or 2 seasons before then we had Richard Ofori dominating the post in Ghana. He played for Wild Stars. 2 seasons ago was named goalkeeper of the season, and then the season afterwards goalkeeper of the season as well as the swag Premier League personality of the year. He recently landed a move to Marisburg United, and now we have the guy who has succeeded him as the top goalkeeper in the Premier League, also earning a transfer away into East Africa. Now Razak Abalora has joined Azam FC on a 3-year deal. Of course, Abalora has done well, like I said earlier. He's kept 12 clean sheets in 22 league games played so far this season. So he's been imposed, forever present for WAFA. Of course, as at the time he was leaving, which was this weekend, he had been imposed for every single game for WAFA this season. Kept the most clean sheets at 12. He's a young goalkeeper, also plays for the local Black Stars, and has been tipped to play for the senior national team sometime in the future as well. Now, Azam FC, of course, have the likes of Yaya Mohammed and Samuel Afo. Yaya Mohammed, formerly of Aduana Stars, and Samuel Afo, for those of you who remember, used to play at 2nd D Hazakis. Now, these players, in early June, we heard that Azam FC have cancelled their contract. Now, so they are sort of in limbo. Of course, Azam FC is a well-endowed club. They have the resources. They are currently coached by Aristika Chuaba, the Romanian who used to coach Aduana FC. Of course, that explains the whole link between Yaya Mohammed, who moved for some big money. And let me tell you a bit about Yaya Mohammed and Azam FC. Of course, Yaya Mohammed joined in November 2016. And earlier this year, he was on radio in Kumasi boasting that his monthly salary in Tanzania can buy a Premier League player in Ghana. And so that gives you a measure of how much Azam FC paid their players. So, good luck to Razak Abalora, who has joined this Tanzanian club. Of course, Azam FC, for those of you who don't know, let me give you a bit of background on them. Now, they were only founded in 2007. In 2009, they qualified into the Tanzanian top flight. In 2012, they were 2nd in the league. So look at the progression. Founded in 2007, 2009 in the top flight, 2012 2nd, and then in 2014, they won their first league title. So they are one-time Tanzanian league title, but with a lot of resources as well. Of course, they play in Dar es Salaam there. So Razak Abalora, the topmost goalkeeper in the Ghana Premier League, has joined Azam FC in Tanzania. So WAFA, of course, are experiencing a depletion of sorts. Now, we've heard rumors that Majid Ashimero, their stalwart midfielder, one of the best players in the Ghana Premier League, of course, along with Gideon Waja, we are hearing that he might be moving to Belgium soon. And of course, one of their key players in that side, Abdul Wahab, as well, Abdul Wahab of WAFA, we are hearing could also be moving to Portugal. And so Wafa are fast losing their best players. Who knows? Gideon Waja might also be on his way out. Of course, they are, in pole position to win this season's league. They have another outstanding game to play. I'll tell you about the outstanding game they played over the weekend, which they lost, by the way. But we'll discuss that later on in the show as well. Now, of course, Bazab Abelora, good luck to you in the Tanzanian league as you go on. Now, in his absence, we have Richmond Ayi, aka Casillas, who has replaced Razak Abelora. He was a second choice goalkeeper at Wafa. Now, he was in goal this weekend when Wafa played Ash Gold and lost by 2-0. So Casillas has had a baptism of fire of some sort. He used to play at Techiman City FC. A very good goalkeeper, of course, replacing big shoes in Razak Abelora. So that's what is happening at Wafa, and players going in and out as well. Now let me just take a quick breather on the game plan show, and I'll be back to discuss more issues. Back on the game plan show. As always, thank you very much for sticking and staying. We are live on Facebook, right? Pulse Ghana Sports. So you're watching us live. If you're watching us live, drop your comment. I can see a lot of people watching quietly. Just let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you want us to say for you on the show, whether it's a shout out, whether it's a comment on our stories, whether it's a problem in your area with regards to sports. Just let's start a conversation and let's keep it going here on the game plan show. Let's do some MTN FA Cup, shall we, this weekend. Of course, remember, the league is on a break. It's on a 3-week break. Sorry, a 1-month break to make way for the preparations of the local Black Stars towards their CHAN qualifiers against Burkina Faso later on in August, as well as the MTN FA Cup quarterfinal. So let's just run you through the results as they happen. Medeama SC were 2-1 winners over Amidao's Professionals in Takwa. Goals were scored by Rashid Note and Latif Salifu. Now, the single goal by Amidao's Professionals was scored by Isaac Amoah, Blackie, as he is called. Very, very good player. He used to play in the Ghana Premier League when Amidao's was in the nostalgic memories covering Amidao's a few years ago. Now, let's go on to Accra, when Heart of Oak, for BI, they were 1-0 winners over Dambot FC. Goal was scored by Vincent Atinga. From where else? From the penalty spot. Vincent Atinga, for those of you who know him very well, is a penalty expert. That's what he does. And so when there's a spot kick, you can trust him to plant the ball in the net for the Rainbow Club. So they are in the semi-finals, Accra House of Folk. And of course, in form, Thomas Abbey, captain of the side, was also named man of the match for that game as well. So Thomas Abbey is having a stellar season at the helm at House of Folk. This is, every footballer, tends to go through a period, or most footballers, where they have their time. And this, I believe, undoubtedly is Thomas Abbey's time. So Thomas Abbey there, watch out for him, for those of you who love the local league. Let's move on to WA, where defending league champions WA All-Stars were 2-0 winners over Brekum Chelsea to qualify into the semi-final of the MTN FA Cup. Nasiru Moro scored in the 16th minute, and in the 46th minute, Seth Amoatin scored for them as well. So WA All-Stars are doing well since they let their title-winning coach Enos Adepa go. Interesting what is happening in that particular club. People are saying, the players were sabotaging the coach. Whatever it is, they are improving and they are playing really well. And I feel that is very interesting for those of you who are following as well. Now, there was also an outstanding league game, Match Day 21 league fixture between Wafa and Ashanti Gold. That was played at the Bobsled and Kayserispor Stadium. And surprisingly, Wafa, who are league leaders, of course, at the top with Adriana Stars, they lost by 2-0 to Ash Gold, who are on a resurgence, coached by CK Akono, one of the most improved sides in the league over the last few weeks. In the second round, I should say. Now, goals were scored by Hans Kofi as well as Samed Ibrahim. So that's what happened in Obuasi. Ashanti Gold beaten, Inform Wafa by 2-0 there. Now let me just take you through what this result means for the Ghana Premier League table. Now Aduana Stars are on top by a single point. They are on 44 points, beating Wafa by 1 point, like I mentioned. Wafa are in second place with 43 points. They have a single game in hand, and so they have an opportunity to usurp Aduana Stars as well. Of course, Hearts of Oak are in third place. They're also into the semi-final of the MTN FA Cup. And Midiama SC are in fourth place as well. Kotoko are 2 games away from fulfilling the maximum number of games they should be playing at this point of the season, but they're in 5th place on 35 points. At the bottom, we have Tema Youth in 14th, Great Olympics in 15th, and Bolga All-Stars in 16th. Bolga All-Stars have lost 16 of their 24 games this season. Wow. Bolga All-Stars are, I guess it's safe to say at this point that they are making a quick U-turn into the lower tier, the second tier of Ghana football, which is the Division 1 league as well. Now let me tell you about another MTN FA Cup quarter-final that was supposed to happen over the weekend between Asante Kotoko and Nia Salamina FC. Now Nia Salamina are currently joint top of the Division 1 league, their zone, which is Zone 1. So Zone 1 of the Division 1 league, Nia Salamina are joint top there. So they are top side and they'll be playing Kumasi Asante Kotoko. That game was postponed because Asante Kotoko are not yet ready to play football after their accident on the 12th of July. And so that was the only quarterfinal that didn't happen, but will be scheduled for a later day. So watch out for that one, Asante Kotoko against Nia Salamina from the Division 1 league as well. So let's just take another quick breather. But before then, let me just read a few comments on Facebook before we take our break on the game plan show. A lot of you watching, I can see you. a lot of my friends and a lot of the regular viewers on the Kwesi Jemfi. I see you are saying good show, Fifi. Thank you very much, Kwesi. Daniel Lamte is saying we thank you, bro, for your good work. I thank you too for watching. I mean, this show is nothing without you guys. Now, Prince Baba Rahman, good job, Mr. Fifi. I'm watching you live from Bologna in Italy. Now, Nana Kweku is saying, did Kwesi Nyantechi say that the Ghana League is one of the best in Africa? The players want to play anywhere but Ghana. That man, SMH. Nana Kweku, that's an interesting comment coming in from Joe Enchibu Esiako. Because it's 500,000 euros per year, it will be more than 10,000 euros a month, 10,000 euros per week. Okay, so that's from Joe Entry. Sorry, 10,000 euros. Yeah, I made a mistake there. Thank you very much, Joe. You are a very attentive viewer of the game plan. I meant to say 10,000 euros every single week, for Asamoah Gyan. So sorry for those of you who heard me saying month. I meant week as well. So thank you very much for your attention, Joe Entry Boys Yako, for your comments as well. Now, Samuel K. Bonsu1, you're saying you've done the best program for us. It's in the name of Jan's new team. Thank you very much, Pearl. I see you as well. Now, Amadou Mutala, you're saying tell them to share the video. I see you. John Apia is saying good work, keep it up. Thank you very much. Peter Kofi, L for love your work, keep it up. Thank you very much for joining us for the show as well. Now, Peter Kofi, okay. So, Latif Blessing, I can also see you watching. Let's go for a quick break on the game plan show and let's return with some more news. On the game plan show, we are live on our Facebook page, Pulse Ghana Sport. Thanks for joining us. Send in your comment and I'll be glad to read them as well. Now let's do some bobsled and skeleton, sports which are alien to Ghana, but we have to discuss them. Last week on the show, we had Aquatics, who is a Winter Olympics hopeful and the first Ghanaian to compete, or the first black African to compete at the highest level in bobsled and skeleton. He was in the studio and he told us some interesting stuff. Now, over the weekend, he launched the Ghana Federation of Bobsled and Skeleton, or the Bobsled and Skeleton Federation of Ghana, BSFG, at the Decathlon stores at the Junction Mall in Nungwa. And I was personally there to observe him, training the young ones who are coming up, athletes, of course, on how, the whole sport of bobsled and skeleton goes. And, they built some wooden sleds, and the turnout was very great. About 40 to 50 athletes turned up for the show as well. And of course, he was very excited with that. There were some presentations with regards to video to show the athletes about, the sport and to introduce it to them as well. Of course, the team at the BSFG are still recruiting athletes for this sport, which many people say won't thrive in Ghana. But of course, in any sport, if Ghana puts its mind to it, I think we can succeed. Now, we don't have to have snow in Ghana to have good bobsled or skeleton athletes, and that's what Akwasi Frimpong is trying to do in Ghana. He's been in Ghana over the last week, has been doing a lot of touring. Like I said, he was on Pulse last week, and I hope you enjoyed our interaction with him as well. He used to be a former sprinter, former 200-meter junior champion of the Netherlands. He also competed for Utah Valley University in the United States of America, where he won a scholarship, of course, before he completed, and an injury meant he had to switch to bobsled, and very interesting circumstance. And now he's a lone flag bearer for Black Africans in this interesting sport. Now, for those of you who want to know a bit about what bobsled and skeleton is, you can check out the movie Cool Runnings. For those of you who have already watched it, of course, it's a movie based on a fictional story of the Jamaican bobsled team, and competing at the highest level as well. So you get a fair bit of insight into what these sports are at, as well. So bobsled or bobsleigh, as well as skeleton. We have a video of Akwasi Frimpong, giving his observations from the launch at the Junction Mall, at the Decathlon stores, and let's hear his thoughts. Let's hear his thoughts. Akwasi Frimpong, at the Decathlon stores, introducing the sport of bobsled and skeleton to young Ghanaians there as well. Now, this federation, of course, is still recruiting, and we'll be bringing you details of that on our Pulse pages, Pulse Ghana Sports on Facebook, as well as Pulse Sports GH on Twitter, as well as on our website, pulse.com.gh/sport as well. So Akwasi Frimpong, they're introducing bobsled and skeleton into Ghana. Now, let me just read a few of your comments again before we move on with the show, because what's our show without your comment? Now, let's do a few of them coming in. Okay, Vitalis, I see you on the show. You're saying, good outfit, bro, and you're on point tonight. All the best to my darling club, Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Kwesi Jenfi is here. You're saying it's a winter sport. How would that work? We might have to get that artificial snow then. Well, Kwesi Frimpong. Kwesi Jenfi is here, a colleague of mine. Now, Kwesi, this is how it works, right? Akwasi is trying to recruit athletes from Ghana, and so they have to build the other aspects of their game, like sprinting, endurance, and strength. And after that, and this takes close to 2 years, it takes a long time to perfect the sport of bobsled and skeleton. So after this, they will be shipped out or flown out of Ghana to go into countries like Germany or the US, where they have ice tracks. Now, there are just a few ice tracks in the world, and so this sport is very, very secluded. It's elite, so to speak, and so to get into the highest levels is very difficult. So what we'll do is we'll train the athletes here. When they get better, we get them out there to train and compete for Ghana. And so we cannot get all the tracks here. All we can do is to practice, with our wooden sleds on the concrete floor and what have you, and then we can hope to get to the highest level as well. AJ Kwam, you're saying you're watching from Germany. Thank you very much. Daniel Adolfet, oh, I'm sorry for missing your comment. You're saying you didn't read my comments, so I just saw them. I'm sorry about that as well. Mubarak Hazard, miss you, Fifi. Busy nowadays. Mubarak, thank you very much for that. Aberuma Issa, you are saying, thank you, bro. Keep up the good work. Thank you to you as well. We are still on the Game Plan Show. It's our last episode for season 1. And as always, we are asking you to bring in your comment. Let's take a quick breather again, and we'll be back on the Game Plan Show. Okay, so we are back on the game plan show. Thanks for joining us once again. Now let's talk some swimming. Now the World Aquatics Championship happened in Budapest in Hungary over the last month, and we had originally 4 Ghanaian swimmers supposed to represent that. We had Abeku Jackson in there. Maya Ayare was supposed to compete for Ghana. Kwesi Jackson, the older brother of Abeku Jackson, was also supposed to compete. And of course, Laila Weburi Zangwio, who is at the University of Ghana, a final year student, 23 years of age. Now, after all the proceedings, now I brought you the whole list of Ghanaians and all the events and their history as well. Unfortunately, only Laila Zangwio was able to compete. Abeku Jackson was at the Commonwealth Youth Games in Nassau, the Bahamas, competed in 6 events, made the podium, made the finals in only 3 events, and returned to Ghana, so he couldn't go. Kwesi Jackson couldn't go for the tournament, as well as Maya Ayare, the young lady, all of GH Dolphins, by the way. So we'll just talk about Laila, Zangwio, who was able to compete in the women's 50-meter breaststroke. She competed in Heat 2. She was in lane 6, and she finished with a time of 42.03 seconds. Laila Zangwio doing well there. She placed 49th out of 52 swimmers who started that race. So that was the only Ghanaian who competed at the FINA World Aquatics Championships there. Remember last 2 years in Kazan at the World Championship, Abeku Jackson competed for Ghana. Natasha Adai also competed for Ghana. Kaya Forsen also competed for Ghana as well. But this time, of course, as against last time when we had about 4 athletes, we had only 1 swimmer competing in Budapest as well. So that's what happened. Laila Zangwio, of course, like I said, is 23, a final year student at the University of Ghana. She's also a triathlon athlete. Now, let me give you a bit of background on Laila. She's been doing very well. She recently won the Kempinski Cowbell Ghana Triathlon Championship for the females. She won that as well. And she was named the Liquid Sports Triathlon Rising Star as well. And, recently she was also at the Sharm El Sheikh ATU, which is the African Triathlon Union Pan-Arab Championship. She won the ladies event, which featured athletes from other African countries in Cairo between the ages of 20 to 25. So she is a multi-talented athlete. She swims well, she runs well, and she cycles very well as well. The swimmer Laila Weburi Zangwio, watch out for him, 23 years of age, swims with the GH Dolphins, was the only Ghanaian swimmer who competed in Budapest at the 17th edition of the FINA World Aquatics Championship. So that's it for Laila Zangwio as well. Now let's just move on to our last story, which is very heavy with detail, but I hope you stay tuned for us. We'll just be breaking it down for you. We'll be talking about Dauda Mohammed and his transfer to RSC Anderlecht. Now let me just start off with what is happening. I'll just take you through it carefully so you get all the facts there. Now, of course, Dauda Mohammed used to play for Kumasi Asante Kotoko last season, which is the 2015-2016 Ghana Premier League season. He scored 8 goals in 20 games. He was one of the hottest properties in the Ghana Premier League. At Kotoko, he was hailed for his talent as well. And then, of course, he started attracting interest. And finally, he landed a move to RSC Anderlecht, one of the biggest clubs in Belgium. They are 34 times Belgian champions. They won the Cup Winners' Cup about 3 times in the 70s and 80s as well. They've also won the UEFA Cup. That was in 1983. So a big club. And he joined the Ghanaian contingent already consisting of Frank Echampong, who plays at RSC Anderlecht, or who used to play at RSC Anderlecht, has recently moved to Tianjin Teda in the Chinese Super League. And of course, Emmanuel Soa, another Ghanaian at RSC Anderlecht. So, according to Asante Kotoko, they paid $250,000. Sorry, they were paid $250,000 for Dauda Mohammed. That is according to Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Now, this was confirmed by operations manager Ernest Owusu Ansa. Now, he was clearing rumors that the media, of course, were reporting that Kotoko were paid $400,000 for Dauda Mohammed. He came out to say, if you look at the fee, it was actually $250,000. Of course, there were other add-ons which could, take the figure up to $400,000 based on his appearances, based on whether he played games and won trophies and whatnot. But let's deal with $250,000. $250,000. Now, this is what happened from what we know from our checks and the game plan show. Now, Anderlecht paid Asante Kotoko some money because Kotoko naturally shared the money with the club that was known to have a stake in Dauda Mohammed, which is Global Stars Sporting Club. So Asante Kotoko and Global Stars Sporting Club, you know, sharing the money from what we are hearing, the $250,000. Now, from all the details that has come up in this saga, we can confirm to you, right, that Kotoko actually paid Global Stars SC $102,000, you know, as part of the whole deal, which works out to about 40% of $250,000. So Kotoko ended up taking about 60% and Global Stars taking 40% per what Kotoko themselves have confirmed as having given to Global Stars. Now listen to this. There was a dispute that emerged. Of course, for those of you who are familiar or conversant with FIFA transfers and stuff, there are rules. You know, you have to pay training fees as well as a solidarity mechanism where you pay all the clubs that train a player from his development right up to his 23rd birthday. So every club that the player has played at has to get a share of the transfer kitty. You understand? And so the money couldn't have been shared between only Kotoko and Global Stars. And so what happened? So many other clubs came in to claim Dauda Mohammed, and one of them was Investor FC. Let me just get the name right for you as Intervest FC. Let me just get it right. Intervest FC came in to say that they actually have a stake in Dauda Mohammed. So the case became a huge one. There was also Matisco FC, Proton Sports were also claiming they were consultants in the deal as well. And of course, Global Stars. So a lot of clubs coming in because Sikaba. So, you know, the case went to the Player Status Committee. And there was a decision, right? They found out, they were able to authenticate that Intervest FC had a stake in Dauda Mohammed. So this meant that Kotoko had to take back their money from Global Stars and, you know, add it to whatever Anderlecht gave them and then distribute the money evenly across all the parties. Proton Sports as consultants, Matisco FC, Global Sports Stars themselves, Global Sports Sporting Club themselves, as well as Intervest FC. So that's how it started. Player Status Committee, clubs complaining, Kotoko are asked, you know what, share the money again amongst the clubs as well. So Kotoko had already paid, remember, $102,000 to Global Sports SC. Now this is what happened next. Now after the Player Status Committee came out with their decision, it had to be enforced by the disciplinary committee of the Ghana Football Association. Now their decision, the enforcement of the decision, of course, came out on the 7th of July. Now this is what they came out with, the disciplinary committee of the Ghana Football Association, headed by lawyer Prosper Harrison Addo. They said that in the interest of Dauda Mohammed, all parties involved, Intervest, Matisco FC, Proton Sports, Asante Kotoko, Global Stars Sporting Club, they don't have to talk to the media about this. This is a very sensitive issue, and so if they go on and talk to the media about it, some sanctions will be applied. That was the first decision by the disciplinary committee, and I have all the document here. I'm reading it directly to you so that you know we are going according to the book. And of course, Global Stars Sporting Club were asked to refund the money Kotoko paid to them, which is $102,000, which is 40% of the transfer fee, which we understand was paid for Dauda Mohammed. So Global Stars were asked to pay back that money to Kotoko, so Kotoko could distribute the money evenly across all the parties who were aggrieved in this whole thing. And Kotoko, even at the Player Status Committee decision, which took place in January, this is the timeline, Player Status Committee met on the issue in January, and the disciplinary committee came out with a ruling or a decision in July. Now in January, when Kotoko were asked to share the money equally amongst all the parties, they were given a July 21st deadline to pay all the parties involved. Now when the disciplinary committee also came out with their decision, they re-emphasized that Kotoko had to pay the money to all parties involved, Matisco FC, Proton Sports, Intervest, as well as Global Stars Sporting Club by the 21st of July. I hope you are following the story closely. So that's established. Kotoko are supposed to pay the money to all these clubs. Now, after this, of course, this was, of course, dependent on whether Kotoko were able to retrieve the $102,000 from Global Stars. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, Kotoko have been asked to pay the money, but they've already paid some amount of money to Global Sports. You have to take that money back so that they can have the full complement of the money to share it equally amongst all the clubs. So that's what happened. Now, after this decision came out, that was on the 7th of July. In between then, on July 12th, Global Stars SC sent a petition to the disciplinary committee. They said they wanted a stay of execution on the decision for them to pay back Kotoko the money, because they said it would represent a financial strain on them. Now, let me just read you a few quotes from that so you get a fair idea of what it was about. Now, they said that the whole decision, which involves monetary matters, will affect them directly and will put them in a different financial condition, as Kotoko had earlier respected their decision to pay the $102,000. So, you know, asking them to relinquish the money, that's from Global Stars SC. They said that if they give the money back to Kotoko, they will be put in a lot of financial distress. And so they were asking on a stay of execution, which is basically a delay of the decision, so they could appeal it, so that they don't have to give the money back because they are broke. That's basically what happened. So they asked for the stay of execution. Of course, the disciplinary committee headed by Prosper Harrison, ADO ESQ, came out with a long explanation on why they had to rubbish. And I have the whole thing here for those of you who want to have a fair idea of it. It's a 3-page document on why the stay of execution didn't make any sense to them. And so they rubbished it. Global Stars were asked to go home. You know, they won't be given the stay of execution. Now, in between then, on the 26th of July, Intervest, who has started this whole brouhaha in the first place in January, saying that they actually own Dauda Mohammed, came out to say, all right, to the FA, that Kotoko has still not paid them. You understand how it's unfolding? Now, Intervest are saying Kotoko have still not paid them. But for Kotoko to pay them, they have to get the money from Global Stars SC. You understand what is happening? So Intervest, they don't really care about whether Kotoko have received the money or not. They just want their money. And so they wrote to the FA and said, you know what? The deadline of July 21st, which you gave Kotoko, has passed. It is now July 26th. Kotoko have still not paid up. So disciplinary committee, what's up? That's what Intervest sent to the disciplinary committee. And then, of course, on Friday, which was the 28th of July, the disciplinary committee finally came out to say that because Kotoko failed to pay on the deadline, they will be fined. That's first of all. And they'll also have to forfeit 3 points for every league game they play. This is interesting. This was the same disciplinary committee which said Kotoko had to get the money from Global Stars SC and redistribute it. So if Kotoko haven't been able to get the money from Global SC, then how then do they share the money? Now here's the explanation. Kotoko also wrote to the disciplinary committee earlier on July the 14th, which is within the same time frame, saying that, you know, Global Stars have not paid us. You know, so you have to look into it as well. Global Stars have to pay us for us to share the money. Now, if they've not paid us and we've not been able to pay, you cannot penalize us. And so when the DC came out with a decision to punish Asante Kotoko by, you know, making them suffer point deductions anytime they play, and of course a fine as well, Kotoko came out that same night, on Friday night, to reject the decision. They said, yeah, you understand, because we have to receive the money. And I have the Kotoko reactions here. Let me just read you a few quotes from that as well before we go on. Kotoko representatives came out clearly to say they will not adhere to the decision as well. So yes, that's it from the Kotoko head of legal affairs, lawyer Yao Boafo. He came out to say that it's patently clear from the decision of the disciplinary committee that Kotoko's obligation to pay all the parties involved is contingent on the receipt of the sum of $102,000 from Global Stars. So Kotoko are still insisting that until they get the money from Global Stars, they cannot pay all them. So that is why they have rejected the decision. Now, you know, I hope you've gotten the whole thing. You understand? You get the whole. But there's also a conspiracy theory, right? People who are close to the deal, you know, are saying that Global Stars, the faces behind Global Stars, have close links with Asante Kotoko. And that is where this whole thing gets murky. So if Kotoko are saying they've not received money from Global Stars, you know, and you know, that of course puts Kotoko in a good light, because I mean, if you don't have the money, how do we share? But then of course, if the club has ties to Global Stars, then they can use it, you know. You understand what is happening? This is just a conspiracy theory. I'm just giving you all the sides to the issue. For those people who are saying Kotoko have faulted, they suspect that because the names of the people behind Global Stars are not public yet, people suspect foul play. That Kotoko, some people at Kotoko are actually conniving with people at Global Stars. So that is what is happening. But Intervest have written to the FA. They are saying they've not been paid. And because of that, the DC is saying that Kotoko have to serve their punishment. And they were very clear on that. They said Asante Kotoko, and of course, will suffer 3-point deductions from the club's accumulated points for each match played after the July 21st deadline, which is already passed. That's that. And Kotoko will also suffer an indefinite transfer ban should they fail to pay the amount in full. So Kotoko will, after 3 months of the deadline, so from July 31, 21, 3 months after that, Kotoko will face a transfer ban. Right now, they'll be facing point deduction. And after a year, which is July 21st, 2018, Kotoko will be demoted from the Ghana Premier League. These are the 3 things that have come up. First, point deduction. Second, transfer ban. And third, demotion from the Premier League. The first one is immediate. The second one is 3 months after deadline. The third one is 1 year after deadline. So the situation is very, very murky. Kotoko is saying, you know what, $102,000, no, you're free Global Stars. So we cannot share the money to Proton Sport and Intervest and Matisco FC and all the parties involved. And of course, the DC is saying, you know what, we asked you to pay by a deadline, you've not done it. So we are asking you to go and face the music, which is the point deduction. Kotoko is still fighting the DC and will be following these issues very closely. I hope you've been educated by all the issues that have come up from the Dauda Mohammed transfer. He's 30 years of age, 20 years of age, has joined RSC and has not really played for them. And that's what is interesting. You know, he's causing a lot of stir back in Ghana, but he's not really kicked off his career out there in Belgium as well. But a lot of issues coming up. Like I said, we are hearing, well, Kotoko themselves confirmed that it was $250,000 that was paid for him. They paid $102,000 to Global Stars SC when they only knew that that was the only club that owned the player apart from them. And then later, so many other parties came in and the player status committee said, Kotoko, share the money equally amongst them. And then, you know, Kotoko had to receive the money. According to the disciplinary committee, Global Stars pay Kotoko the money so they can distribute the money. Global Stars said, so they asked for a stay of execution on it. The DC rubbished it. They have still not paid Kotoko. Kotoko is now facing a ban because they've not been able to settle all the parties involved. And they are saying they are being able to settle the money is contingent on receiving money from Global Stars SC. Like I said, conspiracy theories are there saying that some parties are, you know, engaging in foul play. But, you know, say whatever you will, bring in your comments and let's start a conversation on this as well. So we are still on the game plan show talking Dauda Mohammed to RSC Anderlecht from Asante Kotoko there. We're still on the show. Vitalis Sparks is saying, hey, money is really the root of all evil and power. It's better we Kotoko boycott the league if points will be deducted in any game played. Should we waste money and resources in playing a game which will gain us no points at the end? Ghana will continue to be Ghana. That's from Vitalis. Joe Nchuboesiaku, do Kotoko own Intervest? No, Kotoko don't own Intervest. Intervest came in to claim that, you know, they actually have a stake in Dauda Mohammed. Now, Joe Entry are saying, what should Kotoko have to pay them? Kotoko has no contract with this club, and it's Global Stars that has a contract with those players, so Kotoko should not be playing for this. Now, Joe Entry what you don't understand is that the player status committee was able to prove that Intervest FC have a stake in Dauda Mohammed, and that is why the whole case was blown wide open. You know, so there had to be a redistribution of the whole money. So Kotoko had to retrieve the money they paid to Global Stars SC and redistribute it to Matisco SC, to Proton Sport, and to Intervest, as well as Global Stars themselves. So now, instead of the money, which is 40% they pay to Global Stars, according to the money they gave, which is a sum that is going about $102,000, you know, they have to share it equally amongst everyone else. So I hope you get that right. It's just been proved by law, and so you can't do anything about it. Now, Daniel Adolfe, Fifi, any update on Arsenal transfer and Alexis? Well, unfortunately, I cannot give you there. We've just been concentrating on Ghana football on the show, so I hope you hit me up personally so we discuss Arsenal and Alexis Sanchez. Haruna Isifu Bona, you're saying, I'm enjoying your show live from Virginia in the US. I also want to say hi to my darling club, Accra House of Folk. Thank you very much for your comment. I'll send your message through. John Appiah is saying, please, what day and time do you do this program? Because I don't want to miss. Unfortunately, we are done with season 1. This is our last episode for season 1. But we'll be coming back very soon. Stay tuned to Paul's Ghana Sports for more issues and details as well. Love Nana, you're saying you're watching live from Birmingham. Thank you. Daniel Adolfe is watching. Okay, Daniel Adolfe, I can see you. I can see. AJ Kwame is watching from Germany. As for Kojo Obeng, Sha Kotoko will not pay anything. As from Kojo Obeng. Guys, Kwesiya Martin, you're saying nice job this night, Fifi. Thank you very much. Sheriff Valentino Shera, you're saying nice job, Fifi. Thank you for all your comments on the game plan show. This has been me, Fifi Anaman, signing out on the 56th edition and the final edition of season 1 of the game plan show. Now, thank you to everyone. Thank you to all of you, our regular viewers, from Nana Kweku to Vitalis to Rahaman, to all of you who have been watching from all over the world, from Dubai to Belgium, to Egypt, to South Africa, to Namibia, and to those of us in Ghana, Espresso and Wa and Kumasi and Nima and Mamobi. We thank you very much. To our production team, Isaac Otubo on camera, Ejaya on camera, Kojo Trinebo on MCR, Benjamin Jau on executive producer duties, Fifi Coleman Abedu, previous host Godfrey Akotobo, and everyone who has worked on the show. Nene Afedi Mano, champion graphics guy who has helped very much with the game plan show. Good evening to you, Nene Afedi, and to everyone who has helped the show. Thank you from us, the team at Pulse Ghana Sport. Michael Eduse, head of social media. Shout out to you as well. We'll be back very soon. Stay tuned. We'll be back with a rebranded edition of the game plan show. This, as always, is Fifi Anaman, and I thank you for joining us. I'll see you soon.